University's Future Lab. It's my pleasure to share with you the work of our team at the HDC.Cloud. On April 28, 2019, at the 108th anniversary of Tsinghua University, we created the first classical Chinese-style robot band named Mojia, a name that is inspired by the ancient Maoist wooden craft skills. Our presentation today of the Mojia is made possible by the beautiful encounter between art and technology. More than 100 years ago, French novelist Gustave Flaubert said, "Science and art part at the foot of the mountain and then converge again at the summit." The wonderful chemistry between science and art has spawned a series of great works and wonderful stories. Let us turn our attention to China more than 3,000 years ago. In the ancient Chinese fable, there was the first record of the robots in the world. It can be said that the origin of robots was in ancient China. The Chinese craftsmanship culture goes back to ancient times. Inspired by the ancestors, the team of Professor Mi Haipeng proposed the idea of creating a classical Chinese-style robot band. Sculptor Dr. Zhang Shenhua boldly tried out a series of dynamic sculptures featuring wood carving. We can enjoy a number of artistic images with a classical Chinese style, including dancing people, running deer, flying birds, and so on. So our robot band takes after the classical Chinese style. In order to make the band play vividly, our composer, Hu Xiaoyang, proposed to let the robot play traditional Chinese musical instruments, including the bamboo flute, the konghou, an ancient plucked stringed instrument, and the ancient drum. Our sculptor drew sketches of 3 robot musicians. The flute player looks determined, the string player looks gentle, and the drum player looks passionate. We also quote the names of the Big Dipper, or the 7 bright stars, the name, the musicians, Yu Heng, Yao Guang, and Kai Yang. So much for the story, and our engineers are finally on the scene. To realize the artist's inspiration and creativity, and bring new artistic experience to users, our engineer team has made breakthroughs in a series of key technologies in AI, robot, momentum, and stage technology. This was our show at the Future Theater of Mojia that appeared on December 15, 2019 in the central building of Tsinghua University. The video was viewed 110 million times in 24 hours, making it one of the top 10 searches on Weibo. We can see the Chinese people's love and interest in traditional arts and modern science and technology. Specifically, the Mojia robot band has 2 outstanding skills. One is in the music performance. Robot musicians can learn to play a 5-minute piece of new music within 1 second. They learn the music once they see the scores. They can simulate human performance skills of different instruments. They can collaborate with the time synchronization between different musicians reaching the level of microseconds. Second, gestures. The band has nearly 200 degrees of body movements. Faced with such a large scale of freedom of movement, we can use motion capture, virtual animation, and deep learning technologies to emulate human dancers and animators, and automatically generate the performance movements of robot musicians, so that robots start dancing when they hear the music. These 2 skills are based on the in-depth understanding of the engineer and technical teams, as well as the cutting-edge and solid robotics and artificial intelligence technologies. Finally, I'm going to give you a typical scenario. We have a lantern elf who can talk and make a variety of interesting expressions. They can also use the camera to detect and identify the key points and emotions of the face, and then drive the lantern elf to interact. Such an application scenario, as well as the robotic music learning and emotion generation capabilities, all depend on machine learning technologies. At present, we use an upper computer and lower computer architecture to realize these capabilities, which reduces the integration of robots, increases the cost of robot applications, and is a very loosely intelligent hardware architecture. As the developers of intelligent hardware, we hope to have an intelligent chip that can be integrated, developer-enabled, low-powered, low-cost, and with an ecosystem. Huawei's Atlas series is such a beneficial attempt, which brings us the hope. I hope that one day soon, perhaps this year, the robot band will be able to take part in the ecosystem of Huawei Atlas, bringing more wonderful interaction experience to everyone and injecting new vitality into traditional Chinese culture. That's all for my sharing. I hope you embrace art, love science, enjoy Mojia, and benefit from Huawei. Thank you.
Excellent sharing. We have all felt the combination of robotics and art. Friends online, good morning. Welcome to watch Huawei HDC.Cloud conference live streaming on a Saturday morning, even though you're quite sleepy. I believe a lot of you have the experience as I do on robot gaming. Just now, the band's performance has just brought me back to my days at college. Let me give you my self-introduction. I'm Zhou Ming. I'm a programmer from Huawei's Noah's Ark Lab. I joined Huawei 3 years ago, and I indeed had quite a big career development. When I was at school, people called me the younger sister. Now at Huawei, I was known as the big sister. So you can see, now I'm like the big brother. It's quite a wonderful experience, I would say. When developers attend meetings, there are two purposes: meeting friends in a technology circle and paying tribute to masters. Next is our very prominent speaker, Huawei's Noah's Ark's computer vision chief scientist, IEEE fellow, and also one of the most influential scholars in the multimedia domain. Some people's titles are intimidating, but the actual people are quite cute and lovely. Now, we would like to invite Mr. Tian Qi to share with us the latest development of Huawei computer vision research. Let's welcome. Dear friends online, good morning. I'm Tian Qi from Huawei's Noah's Ark Lab Computer Vision Division. Today I'm very happy to share with you about Huawei's computer vision basic research and vision plan release. It is well known that more than 80% of human perception of the outside world comes from the visual system. At a time when computing devices have become so popular, we hope computers can have signal sensing capabilities similar to mankind. Computer vision can do a lot, right? It has multiple application scenarios such as intelligent vehicles, smartphones, drones, intelligent glasses. We can see the application of computer vision everywhere. Currently, computer vision has three big challenges. First, in the information era, the data we can obtain has far gone beyond the processing ceiling of mankind. Over 500 hours of video data are uploaded to YouTube every minute. Yet how to mine useful data has remained a difficulty. The basis of AI is the perception of the outside world. Identify everything is one of the most important issues for computing vision. In this era, we have widely used neural network. Yet how to design models for visual recognition, this is also a challenge. And also, what is the next step of AI? Can we use general intelligence? How can we represent and store data or information? This has always been a pending issue. Next, I will share with you about Huawei's development in terms of computer vision research. Previously, we talked about the three big challenges: data, model, and knowledge. The first is about data, how to mine effective information from massive data. There are two typical application scenarios. First, use generated data to train models, and second, align data of different modalities. We have corresponding research for both of them. As you know, data collection and labeling are very expensive, even if it is a single computer vision task. The labeling can be hundreds or even thousands or millions. So whether it's the industry or Huawei itself, it has always been our pain point. We believe that data generation is a very important technology to deal with the bottleneck of data labeling. Huawei has conducted a lot of research. In this, we have divided data generation into three parts. First, automatic data augmentation. Second, generate more data with GAN. Third, create virtual data with computer graphics, known as CG. The major application scenarios include smart city and intelligent driving. Here we have listed our works on ICLR and CVPR. Now, let's talk about our latest work in terms of data generation. We raised the point of using knowledge distillations combination with auto-augmentation so as to mitigate the current gap that we see in the industry. As we know, auto-augmentation, known as AA, is a global optimization of the entire data set, but not the most optimal for every single image. So there might be semantic ambiguity, as you can see on the pictures. In the left, it's a picture of a fox. If we increase brightness, it looks like a dog. When we invert the image, it looks like a cat. So when we are training data, it is inappropriate if we use the original hard labeling. So we have come up with the knowledge distillation method. We use a pre-trained model to generate soft labels to guide the training of the model. Let's look at the result. Our knowledge distillation method is combined with the big model. In the ImageNet, we have achieved #1 in terms of performance across the world. We have achieved the top 1 accuracy of 85.8%. In terms of data mining, there is another important means, that is multimodal learning. In autonomous driving, we have multimodal information such as image, radar, LiDAR, and GPS. Compared with the singular model data, it has a lot of innate advantages, higher robustness. It has become a main strategy, but it has a lot of challenges as well, like the multimodal information representation, model joint mapping, alignment fusion, collaborative learning, and it is mainly used for intelligent driving and intelligent multimedia. We think that multimodal learning will be the main driver of future machine vision. Here, let's talk about our latest work, the multimodal learning. In ACM Multimedia 2019, we were nominated as Best Paper. In this work, we came up with a man-machine dialogue system for e-commerce scenarios such as garment making, watches, and mobile phones, so as to simulate the dialogue between customers and robotic customer service. With a round of dialogues, the robot can understand the user's need. The user can provide text or images. Through multiple rounds of multimodal information, as well as the context, temporal information, and the data information of the user, such as if this is a male or female, to search the database and return a result. Based on the result, our magic model has achieved quite good results in terms of image selection and text generation. Another direction of basic research is how to design models for highly efficient visual recognition. There are 2 typical scenarios. First, how to design neural network models. Second, how to accelerate neural network inference. In terms of the design of a neural network model, in the very beginning, it was done manually from AlexNet, VGGNet, GoogleNet, into the recent MobileNet. The manual design of model making has seen a bottleneck. Starting from 2017, neural architecture search, NAS, has developed greatly. Yet, can NAS really replace manual experience? NAS currently meets 3 issues. First, the search space must be manually defined. Second, the search operators must be manually defined. Third, searched networks portability is inferior than manually designed networks. Let's talk about our most recent neural network architecture search. Partial connect dots is an important piece of work we presented at the top-level machine learning meeting ICLR 2020. It is by far the industry's fastest searching algorithm for automatic network structure. In the supernets, there are a lot of redundant parameters, so we come up with the local links methodology to deal with redundancy. We also came up with the edge regularization method to deal with the instability caused by partial connect. In terms of the result, among all of the DART series of methods, our partial connect, known as PC DART, has completed the search on the ImageNet dataset. Compared with MIT's methodology, we are 1 times faster with higher performance. We'll talk about the neural network design. Now, let's talk about neural network acceleration and model miniaturization. From ResNet to DesNet to the recent efficient net. There are a lot of booming systems, but these big models cannot apply to the edge scenario. Starting from 2016, the industry has working on the miniaturization and came up with a lot of solutions. But these solutions have met some of the practical issues. First, low-bit quantization networks. Even though it consumes less power, it is not accurate enough. Second, mixed-bit quantization network. It is more accurate, but is not hardware efficient. And the third is the newly designed operators. They are not thoroughly vetted in general tasks. Now, let's talk about our latest piece of work in terms of model miniaturization. AdderNet, which is an oral report made at CVPR 2020. The core concept is that in the traditional convolutional neural network, there are a lot of multiplications, and replace them with additions. The details are as follows. We use Manhattan distance to replace cosine distance, so there is no need of multiplication in convolution. At the same time, we use 8-bit integer for calculation so that we can present more friendly result to hardware and efficient in power consumption. In the current ImageNet dataset, AdderNet has achieved equal performance to multiple networks and are definitely more energy efficient. The third direction of basic research is general intelligence. The core concept is how to represent and store knowledge. There are two typical application scenarios. First, how to define a pretext task for visual understanding. Second, how to learn common sense in a virtual environment. Our goal is to develop the next generation visual perception general visual model so as to migrate it to the downstream for model reduplication to increase the system's robustness. There are two mainstream methods, supervised learning and reinforced learning. Yet, these two methods have the defects. They cannot provide generalization and robustness that are needed by the general vision models. For example, supervised learning needs massive samples so that data fitting cannot be generalized to sub-tasks. As for reinforced learning, it needs trial and errors. There is a lack of reproducibility, reusability, and robustness. We think that in order to inference, it is very important to achieve so as to transform from perception to recognition. But the current self-supervised learning is not that mature. In terms of self-supervised learning, we released a paper on CVPR 19. With a puzzle game, we provide it a better model. For example, we can divide the image to sub-modules 3 × 3. We randomly shuffles the sub-modules, and then through network training, we can recover the original layout, and we can improve the self-supervising model so that the network can better understand the semantics in a context. In ImageNet, the self-supervised model is migrated to Pascal VOC for classification and testing. All of those have achieved quite good results. Finally, we talk about using virtual scenarios to learn common sense. Deep learning relies heavily on labeled data, yet in actual scenarios, it is very costly to label data. Second, when we label data, there is a critical issue, namely the inaccurate representation of knowledge. For example, during self-driving scenario, there are a lot of pixel-level labels, yet we cannot identify whether these tasks are best suited for self-driving scenario. Third, people's recognition on the world rely on common sense, but if we rely on such models, it will lead to a lack of common sense. we can develop a virtual scenario to learn common sense based on, let me talk about our research on the CVPR 2019. We used a virtual 3D scenario generated virtual data to control the sensor-free robotic arm. And the cost of labeling is almost zero because it's a virtual environment. And we also use a domain transfer algorithm to avoid any performance loss. Here we move dices. We only use a computer and a camera to control a sensor-free robotic arm to complete a set of complicated actions. Next, let's talk about Huawei's strategy of innovation, talent, and leadership so as to fully support our to-be-released Huawei Vision Plan. In terms of paper submissions, we submitted 33 articles in CVPR 19, 29 in CVPR 19, and 19 in ICCV 19. We are also among the Tier 1 in paper submissions to the top-level computer vision conferences. Now I'll officially announce the release of Huawei Vision Plan. We hope that it can empower every AI developer. Our plan includes 6 sub-plans. The one related to data iceberg plan, data Rubik's Cube plan, the one related to model, effective model precision plan, and slimming models plan, and finally, general vision plan and VR integration plan. Let me talk about them one by one. The first is the data iceberg plan to deal with the bottleneck of data labeling so that we can use data generation instead of manual labeling. There are 3 subtopics. First, quality improvement plan. We hope that within 1 or 2 years, we can deal with the issue of bad quality and inaccuracy of data generation. The second subtopic is generation improvement plan. We hope to design the self-selecting algorithm of data so as to select valuable data among the massive data. In this way, the model will be even better. The third subtopic is generation automation plan. We hope to select corresponding generation methods for every subtask so that we can make data generation universal. In this way, numerous developers will benefit from that. Our second plan is the Rubik's Cube plan. It's for multimodal learning. We focus on multimodal quantification, alignment, and fusion strategies for computer vision of the future. The third is plan for improving model precision. We hope to develop a big model on the cloud so as to develop the performance of visual recognition. There are 3 subtopics. First, degrees of freedom in neural architecture. We hope to break the boundary of limited search space to search for more operators and more changes in the network structures so that NAS can be automatic. We can achieve automatic search. The second subtopic is finding new operators. We hope to combine it with chips so as to search for new operators, so as to create new ones. The third subtopic is improved network generalization. Compared with the manual network, the search network has issues of overfitting and adaptability. We hope to increase its generalization capability so that network search can be reliable and secure. The fourth plan is the plan for slimming models. We think that we can better adapt to different terminals. So our goal is to develop effective edge computing model. 3 subtopics. First, neural architecture search for a model miniaturization so as to introduce hardware constraint into NS design. Second subtopic, 1-bit network quantification. We hope that it can replace floating points to represent a full precision network, thus achieving ultimate performance. Third subtopic, AddNet to eliminate convolution. We hope that we can use additions to replace all of the multiplications and combine with the chipset design to search for new paths of effective computing. Our fifth plan is the plan for general vision models. As the supervised learning is becoming less and less rewarding, we come up with a plan so that the model can make the giant leap from perception to recognition. We will search for a lot of the open label-less images and build a large scale of unsupervised algorithms to realize knowledge extraction and sorting. Our goal is to define the pre-training tasks of vision and develop general vision model. Our final plan is the VR integration plan, so that in the virtual scenario, without labeling the data, we can directly train the agent. This is very challenging. Currently, the industry is still doing preliminary research. We need to think of how to define knowledge, how to develop virtual scenarios, how to define the simulated behaviors to ensure the security of both data and agents. It is challenging, but we believe it will eventually lead us to the actual AI. The above is the introduction to the Huawei Vision Plan. We welcome AI researchers across the world to join us. Our goal is to accelerate computer vision basic research based on Kunpeng, based on Ascend AI computing platform, and also based on MindSpore. We can make it open source for the industry to use. If you have any questions, feel free to visit our website for further information. We also have our contact information there. So the above is my presentation on Huawei's computer vision basic research and vision plan release. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tianqi, for your sharing. CV has always been a hot topic and an important development direction of AI. Just now, Tian has laid out a foundation for many of you. Welcome to join our team to see how these ideas be turned into realities. And don't hesitate to send Tianqi your messages after this conference. The next thing I want to say is that the internet has memories. In August last year, Eric Xu released MindSpore, a full-scenario AI computing framework. MindSpore represents the boom of mind, and it will be open source in the spring of 2020. All our brothers and sisters working on this have been racing against time throughout the past autumn and winter, and finally they met the deadline. So we'll give the rest of the time to MindSpore's chief scientist, Mr. Chen Lei. Hello everyone, I'm Chen Lei, the chief scientist of Huawei's MindSpore. Today my topic is Huawei's all-scenario AI computing framework. MindSpore is officially open source. Before I introduce MindSpore, I'd like to explain the necessity of Huawei's all-scenario AI computing framework. We know that there is a huge gap between AI research and AI production. In the academic community, AI research continues to heat up. For example, more than 9,000 articles have been submitted at the AAAI this year. Various models and algorithms are emerging. There are many different requirements. The requirements of the academia have following features. That is, the dataset is small, new models are used, and ideas are easy to verify. In the industry, more and more AI applications are emerging, such as safe city, smart transportation, and biomedicine. What about the features of industry requirements? Large datasets, complete functions, and various application scenarios. How to meet those requirements? Can the existing AI framework be adopted? The existing frameworks have high development threshold, which requires developers to deeply understand the computer system knowledge and has poor support for heterogeneous computing. Computing capabilities of device, edge, and cloud are insufficient, and the maximum computing capabilities of heterogeneous chips are not fully utilized. The full scenario capabilities are insufficient. The existing open-source framework focuses on some scenarios and cannot meet all device edge cloud synergy requirements. Last year, Huawei launched Ascend and MindSpore. This is the architecture of the MindSpore, which is to be open source, which solves those problems and meets both the requirement of academic and industries. These features of the MindSpore is that first, the development state is user-friendly, and AI algorithms as code is realized. The code amount reduced by 20% and efficiency improved by 50%. Second, efficient running state. It is optimized for Ascend chips with graph operator compilation acceleration and a parallel execution of neural networks. The performance has been improved by 1.6 times. And third, flexible deployment state. From IoT devices to the cloud through adaptive deployment technology is reached. MindSpore is dedicated to realizing AI algorithms as codes and to lower the development threshold. During AI training, distributed training is especially important. To implement this, developers need to design algorithm logic and then design distributed parallel training policies. When designing and developing training policy, algorithm scientists need to analyze the data volume, data, parameter, cluster network topology, model segmentation policy, and etc. to design a good distributed parallel training policy. It is difficult and the coding is complex, and the details of these parallel trainings are irrelevant, which consume a lot of time of scientists. As the size of algorithm increases, hybrid parallelism becomes more important. This allows MindSpore to automate parallelization, with one line of code automatically blending in parallel, without having to worry about system details while maintaining the performance. You can look at this simple example on the left. Take ResNet 50 as an example. When the number of categories is between 1,000 to 32,000, the parallel data search policy is the same performance of that of manually specified search policy. As number increases to between 65,000 and 131,000, the hybrid parallel policy is automatically searched out and the performance is much better. If the number of categories is more than 260,000, the model has exceeded the upper limit of the memory of a single card. The parallel data cannot run because it is out of memory, but the automatic parallel function can continue. To facilitate debugging, MindSpore uses one line of code to complete PDB debugging and running switchover, which facilitates debugging and ensures performance. AI developers know that the black box of deep learning makes model tuning extremely difficult. MindSpore's visualized tuning tool enables developers to quickly and efficiently optimize algorithms. The visualized optimization tool of MindSpore can be used to implement functions such as training process visualization, model source tracing, and model comparison. Now I'll show you a video to demonstrate how to develop a model on MindSpore. First, it's easy to develop models using MindSpore. Python scripts are used to implement definition and implement the entire ResNet 50 training code. Second, modifying a line to switch the debugging mode. The mode of entering PDB is similar to that of GDB. Of course, we can also debug through the visualizer, so that you have the full scenario visibility. We have also done a lot of work in software and hardware collaboration acceleration. On the framework, we have pipeline parallelism and cross-layer memory reuse to accelerate. Pipeline parallelism is used for data loading and gradient update. The data pipeline refers to an asynchronous computing during data pre-processing and model training. The training time is used to cover the data processing time, ensuring that the Ascend chip is always in the computing state and improving the chip utilization. On gradient update, we use gradient data-driven adaptive graph segmentation, decentralized and autonomous or reduce, and synchronously gradient update to ensure that computing and communication processes are streamlined. In terms of software and hardware synergy, MindSpore syncs the entire computing graph to the chip side so that all computing is performed on the chip, fully utilizing the computing power of Ascend. Before the computing graph is delivered, MindSpore optimizes the computing graph in depth, including maximizing the parallelism of data computing communication, operator convergence, and path optimization. The optimization effect can be seen from the three networks on the left. In the typical image classification ResNet 50 and the target detection fastest RCNN in the CV field, the training time is 23% and 35% shorter than that of competitors. In the NLP field, training time was reduced by 62 on the BERT network. When deep learning is applied in the industry, model training and deployment are relatively separated. Models trained by developers on the cloud need to be converted before being deployed on devices. This may involve model pruning and quantization, or even secondary development. MindSpore is committed to changing this situation, deploys devices, edges, and cloud in a framework. At last year's Huawei Connect, Huawei released Atlas 900, the world's fastest AI training cluster. Atlas 900 works with MindSpore to identify 200,000 objects in 10 seconds. MindSpore will be put into OBT on ModelArts in April this year. Then, users can experience the powerful computing power of MindSpore and Ascend chips on the cloud. On the device side, MindSpore will provide more than 10 functions for users in the HMS smart device. In January this year, MindSpore has been released with HMS 4.0 for commercial use. To meet the requirements of all scenario deployment, MindSpore has a flexible architecture design, including lightweight models required by devices, heterogeneous CPU-NPU scheduling, and hybrid parallelism, ensuring that models run on devices with low power consumption, high speed, and lightweight. We have launched Model Zoo, a deeply optimized model market. As shown in the Bird NASA example on the left, we will continue to add models and try to realize over 30 common models in Q4. You are welcome to contribute models. The following shows the high-level plan of MindSpore in the past year. We will adjust the plan priority based on users' feedback. In general, we will strive to continuously improve MindSpore in the following areas. More pre-built models are supported, continuously supplement APIs and operator libraries. Huawei Ascend series chips are fully supported, and the performance in software architecture will be continuously optimized. We will improve visualization, debugging, and optimization and security-related tools. We sincerely hope that you can join the discussion. After open source, we will try our best to build a booming AI ecosystem and achieve inclusive AI. We will nurture developers, provide free online experience resources, and we will hold over 10 offline technical salons, and MindSpore developer contests will be held. We'll cooperate with universities and scientific research, provide incentives for special innovation projects, including AI plus HPC, interpretable AI, next generation AI framework, as well as develop the MindSpore teaching support plan. We'll recruit committers to participate in core community projects. We welcome enterprises and organizations to participate in community development and seek common growth. MindSpore uses the Apache 2.0 license, and the code is hosted on the Code Cloud. We welcome global partners and developers to participate in MindSpore community development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chen Lei, for your sharing. I personally really like the term MindSpore, and I was just searching the meaning of spore. It means small plant cells, so altogether the cells of the mind. MindSpore, right? You have learned in middle school, I believe, that small plant cells, namely spore, is quite magical. When it leaves the parent body, it can still accumulate energy and survive. For people working in the technology circle, we can withstand loneliness, temptation, and criticism. Therefore, we welcome all of you to join our MindSpore community to grow together, to improve together. Our next speaker may be quite unfamiliar to people born in the 90s or even in the 2000s. That's okay. People with PhD background definitely have quite some years of literature training. We are all gossip masters, so I did some research for you. He's really impressive because he's the only guest here that has sharing both Baidu Baike and Wikipedia. He also has 2 tags. One is the guy living on the upper bunk, the other is computer doll. Yes, this guest is good friend of Mr. Tian Mengmeng. Together, they have shared quite wonderful college years. Speaking of the slogan of computer science education should start from kids, you're all very familiar, right? Yes. Our next guest is Deng Motou, and I think you may all know about the name. So next, let's invite Deng Motou, Mr. Li Jing, to share with us about his story with computers. Distinguished guests, hello. I am Li Jing, CTO of Apulus Technology. My topic today is Aulis Open AI Platform. I will talk about our company's Aulis Open AI Platform as well as the support for Huawei AI ecosystem. We're at the artificial intelligence era. Big data, large-scale parallel computing, and open-source software are the three driving forces for the advanced development of deep learning in multiple AI domains, such as image, video recognition, audio recognition, and machine translation. Across the world, there are thousands of startups that are using deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing, and the other latest AI technologies to resolve practical issues. On the other hand, the traditional companies hope to introduce AI technologies in the industry chains to achieve an upgrade, thus improving the competitive edge. In most of the companies, we see that deep learning engineers will use servers with one or two GPUs to develop deep learning models. For this kind of working pattern, there are the following issues. First, low utilization rate of computing resources. When engineers are writing codes, the GPU servers are often idle, and when it comes to model training, there is a huge lack of computing power. Second, limited computing power. The current mainstream deep learning algorithms have very high requirements on computing power. The training of super big scale model needs hundreds or even thousands of GPUs. As for automatic hyperparameter tuning, we need to train multiple models and release the tasks to the clusters for training. Most of the companies don't have such capability. Even if with that readily available platform, there are very few engineers that can train such models. Third, on the devices, the models that have been trained should rely on model transformation and tuning tools to translate into architectures that can run on the inference chips. So the latest research often includes less commonly known operators, thus impacting the progress of such work. The limitation of computing power plus the less efficient model optimization have greatly impacted the AI technology implementation. Huawei, however, offers the industry's only native full-stack all-scenario AI solution. To us, the biggest benefit of this is that companies working on AI only need to do one time of R&D work of the AI algorithm. As for the R&D model, it can be used both on the cloud and also can be compiled directly and used in the devices. We have realized that in terms of Huawei's Ascend series chips, whether it is Ascend 910 used in data center or Ascend 310 used in the devices, use the same chip architecture, whether it's the 1 milliwatts or the 200 watts. There is always a very good balance between computing performance and power consumption. This is really valuable. Huawei's MindSpore provides unified training and inference framework. It uses transcoding to realize automatic differentiation as well as in-depth image optimization so as to use the most advanced model developed in the cloud so that it can instantly be compiled and used in the edge and on the devices without worrying about the compatibility issue. Huawei's full-stack all-scenario AI ecosystem is a great news for companies that want to implement AI technologies. Apellis Technologies decides to work with Huawei and develop the open source Alice platform on top of Huawei's ecosystem. This is the industry's first open source heterogeneous platform for artificial intelligence, resource management, and model training. Also, all of the components used by this platform are open source. In terms of hardware, our platform not only supports the mainstream servers that use NVIDIA's chips, but also supports servers that use Huawei Ascend 910's chips. In terms of software AI framework, it can not only run the commonly AI frameworks based on NVIDIA chips such as TensorFlow, PyTorch, CNTK, and MXNet, but also run the Kunpeng chip-powered TensorFlow or MindSpore frameworks. Our platform can be further extended to support more hardware chips and AI frameworks. Our OLED platform can be running in the public cloud. This heterogeneous cluster not only includes NVIDIA GPU server, but also Huawei's Atlas server based on users' preference, whether it's the computing chip based on NVIDIA's GPU or Huawei's Ascend 910, or whether it's the AI framework toolchain based on TensorFlow, PyTorch, or MindSpore. Our platform can call corresponding hardware resources and configure corresponding software resources to complete such tasks. A large number of users will share one public cloud computing cluster. Our company will help to manage and operate this environment to provide a seamless access mode for the users. There are some special users, for example, those that are quite sensitive about data privacy. Well, our open source platform can also run on the private cloud, namely on top of the user's proprietary hardware platform. Because our platform is open source, the user can deploy free of charge. We can also provide consulting services to help them to install our platform. The purpose of OLED is to provide an AI development platform that is friendly to developers. It is an integration of computing cluster, control software, and user interaction system. It provides a unified cloud and user interface, programming interface, and resource scheduling, so that the students, engineers, or professors working on AI can obtain the super large-scale computing power by their needs and to conduct some development work. Based on our platform, the developers can unleash the cluster computing power, improve efficiency, and reduce development cost. In order to develop complicated AI models, the researchers not only need to understand the most advanced mathematics, but also needs to understand mathematics optimization of the complicated AI neural network. And they also need to understand the very complicated large-scale parallel computing knowledge so as to coordinate multiple computers, GPUs, NPUs to realize optimization and iteration. Because an efficient distributed training system not only relies on the bottom-level hardware, but also very complicated integration and optimization of both hardware and software. So the whole set of knowledge ranges from the deep learning training chip to the super high-speed network between chip and servers to the operation of a storage system to the optimization of a cross-server high-speed network. Therefore, it will be a very important technology. Our platform provides the unified software interface and a series of AI development tools for multiple AI workers. It can coordinate the complete cluster's computing resources and can integrate a lot of technologies into the same platform, such as the multiple machine, multiple GPU parallel training, the cluster's hyperparameter tuning, and others. Our platform's model transformation tool can help the engineers to quickly conduct research and deploy the models. Huawei's Ascend series chips has the most advanced computing power in terms of the per unit power consumption, as well as the super high bandwidth mesh networks on the chips. We together developed the world's leading large-scale AI cluster training system. and we have conducted some of the leading work. This is one of the intentions that we work with Huawei. On top of Huawei's full-stack all-scenario AI solution, Alice platform further integrates the industry's advanced systems and frameworks, including Kubernetes, Docker, Kubernetes device plugin collected, Prometheus, InfluxDB, Grafana, Jupyter VS Code, and Anaconda. At the same time, the platform also integrates a lot of the industry's leading AI frameworks, such as TensorFlow, PyTorch, MindSpore, CNTK, MXNet, and hyperparameter tuning frameworks, such as neural network intelligence. We hope that Alice platform can provide enterprises, institutions working on AI with the end-to-end AI solutions. Next, let's enjoy some demos of the functionalities of our platform. Our platform supports batch processing training. When the training is completed, the system resources will be automatically taken back. Our platform also supports interactive development. In such development mode, the user will always occupy the interactive container resources. This is very friendly to the developers. Now let's see how the users can conduct interactive development work on the intelligent platform. When the users log on to the platform, they can click the training button to go to the development screen. Our training screen provides a series of development templates. As a heterogeneous platform, the user can assign whether the current AI task will be using NVIDIA's GPU or Huawei's Ascend 910 GPU. And for this particular task, the user has chosen Ascend 910 and has assigned the Docker image that will support NINF, hyperparameter tuning. After the command of training is released, the platform will check if the system has the corresponding chips needed by the task. If it is available, then the training will be executed. In this interactive development mode, user can use SSH protocol to log on to the container via command line, or they can use a web browser to log on via Jupyter Lab. Jupyter Lab service integrates folder, command line, IPython, and other kinds of interactions. This can greatly simplify the local settings of users because users only need to use one browser to log on to use the resources in the cloud from any device, including the cluster's GPU and Ascend chips computing power. Users can also use IPython to do interactive development to execute Ascend chips training task, and they can use TensorBoard to look at the results. They can also execute command lines through Jupyter Lab. During the development of deep learning models, a very important link is the exploration of models and the tuning of model parameters. Engineers that are good at this job are known as master of parameters, and they are really scarce resources with very high salary. And the parameter tuning is a very troublesome work. Our platform, however, supports effective automatic tuning of model parameters. What we are showing now is developed by Microsoft, the automatic machine learning open source tool NNI. In the future, we'll use other kinds of tools. In NNI, user will use the format of control files to set the search space of hyperparameters and to define the programs that need to be running for every search, as well as the to-be optimized indicators. We have assigned MindSpore to execute the trainings of the handwritten numeral identification models of 10 different MS. NI controller will automatically distribute within the allowed scope of the platform's resources to run the experiments and to search the ideal neural network structure and model. We realized that for this experiment, it has 10 rounds, and for every round, it has used different convolution sums, dropout rates, running rates, and other kinds of hyperparameters. Alice platform provides managers with abundant platform monitoring tools. With our monitoring dashboard, the managers can have a real-time understanding of the healthy status of the platform, like the platform's current CPU, memory, network, block I/O, GPU, NPU, device utilization rate, memory utilization rate, current active tasks, their corresponding CPU, memory, GPU, NPU devices. This can help the managers to understand if the platform is running in a healthy status. We use the above-mentioned demos to show you our OLES platform, how we can combine with Huawei's industry's only native full-stack all-scenario solution. On top of Huawei's chips and AI framework, we further develop the industry's first heterogeneous AI platform that supports Huawei Ascend chips to complete the access management and model training. Our users can use these heterogeneous platforms to run on top of the NVIDIA chip to run the AI task with the TensorFlow PyTorch AI framework. The users can also choose to use Huawei Ascend chip and MindSpore to run the AI tasks. Our heterogeneous AI open source platform has given users more choices on the training chips. The corresponding components this platform provides can help the users to quickly get on board, because even if the current user's task only supports NVIDIA's chip, TensorFlow, PyTorch's AI tasks, such tasks can also be running with the NVIDIA hardware on the OLES platform, while the users can also develop dedicated tasks for Ascend series chips. We believe that with OLES high-efficient infrastructure platform, we can have more diversified AI underlying training chips, more diversified AI training frameworks, so that the practitioners of AI can have more cost-effective and more abundant AI ecosystems. Fabulous Technologies hope to work with Huawei on the full-stack all-scenario AI ecosystem to bring the digital to every person, home, and organization to build a fully connected, intelligent world. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Li Jing, for your sharing. I don't know if you feel the same way as I do, as you might be very interested in the internet-oriented programming. Open source and openness can help us grow and move forward quickly on the shoulder of giants. Speaking of computer science, education should start from kids. I think now children's programming is a very hot topic. I don't know if these agencies will send some gifts to our unofficial spokesperson, Mr. Li Jing. Well, I envy all the men whose wives are programmers because, well, for your children's computer science education will start from the prenatal days. And the first sentence will be Hello World, which has the Python Java bilingual attribute. If you're still single, well, don't worry. Send me your resume plus your photos. Speaking of language, the next guest of honor is a natural language processing expert that can teach the AI to compose poems and songs. And it's a coincidence as I found out that we both graduated from University of Science and Technology of China. Male to female ratio is 7:1, a good place for study, definitely. Our university aims at teaching students that are patriotic, professional, excel at both theory and practice, united, lively, and heroic. Now let's invite Yuan Jing. Welcome. Thank you, Zhou Ming, for your introduction. I'm very happy to share with you Huawei Cloud's progress and observations in the implementation of AI across industries. Huawei Cloud EI stands for Enterprise Intelligence. It's a department that provides intelligent products, services, and solutions for enterprises and governments. First of all, I would like to say thank you to our universities, students, teachers, partners, and developers for your generous support in the past 1 year. As always, Huawei Cloud hopes to achieve universal AI so that AI can really generate value with the joint help between us and developers. We found out that there are some challenges, especially for the developers that work on the industry AI applications. In addition, the corporate managers tend to expect AI to unleash new potential to bring values so as to reduce cost and increase efficiency. As for the developers, they face very troublesome tasks, tight schedules. They don't have time or effort to start from the beginning to learn about AI basics. So they would often turn to open source algorithms and general APIs. They have this good intention in mind, but the reality is not that good. We found out that the common algorithms or open source algorithms cannot meet the actual needs. Sometimes we have to do very in-depth optimizing. We also find out that data in the industries is often quite complicated, very much varied with both structured and non-structured data. Our industry experts also hope that AI can help them to apply the years of accumulative knowledge to the AI applications so as to further increase work efficiency. Facing these challenges, let's look at the latest progress and the trend of AI technologies. Generally speaking, intelligence can be divided into 3 layers. First, computing intelligence, dealing with issues of computing and storage. Second, perception intelligence, dealing with the issue of perception. And third, cognition intelligence, dealing with knowledge and inference. A lot of the industries already need cognition intelligence. Let's look at mankind's development. We use the capability of multimodal capabilities as we use different senses. Mr. Tianqi previously talked about Huawei's development in multimodal learning. Well, in the actual scenarios, we found out that the multimodal data is a common need. For example, in the oil and gas exploration domain, when we're looking for the petroleum, we will start an artificial earthquake, which produces seismic wave. We collect the echoes to gain a large number of 3-dimensional data, and we'll also work on drilling production tests. We will use electronic, photonic, and radioactive sensors to collect more data. We also consider the neighboring or similar zones stratum information if needed. So when we are looking for petroleum, we have to deal with the multimodal data. There are also many other similar scenarios where we have to represent, converse, align, and converge all the different multimodal information. We also find out that in the industry domains, cloud-only intelligence is not sufficient as we need the coordination between cloud and the edge, or cloud and the device. Simply put, AI's development has transformed from perception to cognition, from single modal to multimodal, and from cloud only to the coordination between device and cloud. Against this backdrop, we are also trying to resolve the pain points of our industry AI developers. The core issue is how can we have an organic combination of the industry knowledge and the AI algorithms. During our practice, we have found out a methodology. Today, we will present you a product based on our experience. That is ModelArts Pro, which is the industry's first enterprise-level AI application development professional suite. Before officially introducing you to ModelArts Pro, let's look at our fully upgraded overall architecture facing at the enterprise intelligence. Based on Kunpeng and Ascend as well as our intelligent data lake, we provide one-stop AI development platform, ModelArts. It has first ModelArts fundamental components, providing a series of development, deployment, training, and other basic functionalities. On top of that is ModelArts Pro, the professional development suite, which targets at our industry developers, providing a series of easy-to-use and simple tools, whether it is ModelArts Pro or ModelArts. The applications and results developed by the developers can be shared on our AI marketplace. Therefore, ModelArts is not just a development platform, it is also an ecosystem for the AI developers. On top of ModelArts, we work with our developers to create more common APIs and integrated solutions. Well, let's go back to the theme. What is ModelArts Pro? It provides a way for the industry application of AI, and it's also a very pragmatic methodology to create values from AI. Simply put, there are 4 steps. First, define scenarios. We need to have a boundary. The current AI is weak AI. It cannot resolve all of the issues, so we need to first draw a boundary. With that boundary drawn, the second and the most important thing is to have a phase-by-phase implementation, namely to have an organic combination of algorithms and the industry knowledge, so as to apply that to the end-to-end computing process. When algorithms, data, and industry knowledge are embedded in the process, we need to let the AI result generate values, be it social value or business value. Only with such value can it drive more and more data to iterate. And finally, we can make a closed loop mechanism. So these are the 4 steps. When we are making the ModelArts Pro, we translate those theories into the actual product. For the industry AI developers, they need to first go into the ModelArts Pro to define the scenario. It could be in the financial sector, or it could be the e-commerce scenario where people analyze the public opinions. With a scenario picked, we provide an AI workshop where we provide a series of equipment, production materials, and environment so that they can conveniently develop the AI applications. Suppose there is a company that has never produced masks, and today it is asked to produce a huge number of masks. What shall it do? It shall introduce a mature production line. This is also the core of ModelArts Pro, as we have the AI production line known as workflow. The developers need to create or use our preset workflows targeting at different industries and scenarios, where he will see a combination of the industry knowledge and algorithms. With that industry-based workflow, we can not only use by ourselves, but also flexibly create, share, and learn from each other. Based on the workflow, we see a consolidation of the algorithm and industry experts' knowledge. The industry AI developers only need to pay attention to workflow instead of the details in the bottom level, because we provide a lot of atomic scale components. You can think of it like this way. We have a lot of advanced components on our production line, and they are high precision models. Only simple configuration is needed, or it could be industry-specific tools, templates, or pre-embedded APIs or models. Based on this atomic scale component, we only need to focus on workflow design instead of the details of those atoms. And our ModelArts Fundamental also provides a series of fundamental capabilities such as automatic learning, neural network architecture search. I believe with all this, you still feel like it's a bit abstract. Let's talk about a specific example. For instance, if we want to develop an OCR identification for a new certificate. Normally, the algorithm expert will pre-handle the image, label it, train a text identification and a text detection model, and then have the end-to-end commissioning, which will take at least 1 week. Now let's invite Dr. Zhu Shenggao to do a demo of how we can develop such OCR model in a very quick way. Hello. Now I will give you a demo of how we can use ModelArts Pro to quickly develop an identification interface. For example, in the international logistics, we have to identify invoices from different countries with different formats, and we also have to extract key fields such as data address. We can use ModelArts Pro to deal with the issue. For example, we can first create a project, the International Logistics Identification Invoice project. We can select the workflows. There are a lot of them already. We can choose the one workflow on logistics, and then we can go into the workshop. You will see that it has 6 steps. First, we upload the template picture. Let's do it. Next, pre-handling. We can rotate it, cut it, so as to leave out the unnecessary background. Next, let's select the reference field. The reference field is the field that remains unchanged, that is fixated, and at the same time, the backend OCR engine will automatically identify the text. So in the future, if there's a new picture to be identified based on the reference field, there will be a mapping between the new picture and the template picture. Okay, next step, we need to select the region we want to identify. For example, we want to identify the field known as date. We will select it and we will give it a customized name. Let's call it date. Next, if we want to identify port, we will also give it a field. We also support fields that cross multiple lines, as you can see here. Next, we can test the template. We will upload a test picture. The backend office is identifying it real time and accurately extracts 3 segments. So it's okay. For the test, now we can deploy it. We have a template ID. With a RESTful API, we can directly call the interface so as to identify new pictures. As you can see, the total process is very simple. Within 2 or 3 minutes, you can develop a new template. You may have questions. What if the picture is very complicated? For example, there's a rotation or steps on it. Well, workflow is very flexible. In ModelArts Pro, we have a lot of predefined industry experience. Let's show the advanced functionalities. We can enable the automatic rotation model and the stamping anti-interference model. The other steps remain unchanged. We test this quite complicated picture. You can see some of the fields are blocked by the stamp, but with this test, it can still automatically identify it, very accurate. So with that update, we are able to develop this new functionality. Okay, that's the end. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Zhu, for your excellent demo. Just now, we only introduce you to just one workflow in the OCR suite. Actually, some of our key partners have also had their hands-on experience of our ModelArts Pro. Now let's look at the specific cases. Development also always is accompanied by innovation and challenges. Faced with these challenges, intelligence can help you. Oil surveying is a very important activity during the oil exploration and development, as we have to find a thickness of only several meters of oil, several thousand meters below the surface. I may need to spend 1 to 2 days to identify a new well, but the total oil field needs to identify more than 10,000 every year. So we work with Huawei Cloud to use the ModelArts suite to quickly develop the professional model, to activate the neglected data, to aggregate the scattered stratum information. So the intelligence upgrade of the oil industry is there within hand. Every day, there are several hundreds of cakes and bread that go through me, but we cannot put the QR code on the bread. I can only memorize all of the codes of the cakes and bread so as to help them with the caching. We work with Huawei Cloud AI capability to realize the man-free settlement. Huawei Cloud ModelArts doesn't need any code development. We just update the picture and we are able to do the labeling training, and it can realize 99.5% of identification accuracy rate. Within seconds, we can help them to receive to let the cashier to complete the whole process with much better user experience. Zhongshan Logistics has to deal with all kinds of invoices with a large number of them. If we rely on manual labor, it would be very costly. With the Huawei's professional suite, it can help us to reduce 60% of cost, laying a solid foundation for digitalization of our industry. Huawei Cloud ModelArts Pro is working with the industries so that the industries can deal with those difficulties. We'll promote the digital development of enterprises and igniting the industry's further development. In the ModelArts Pro Suite, I would like to introduce you to a very special suite that is our multimodal device cloud coordination development suite, Highlands. So what I mentioned are the two keywords, multimodal and device cloud coordination. With this, our developers can easily develop the multimodal AI applications and realize the deployment with the coordination between the device and cloud. We also provide hardware called Highlands Kit, which includes our Kunpeng Ascend 310 chip with 16 TOPS computing power, connecting 16 channels of video. It also has its cameras and microphone arrays, which is very helpful for the multimodal AI application and commissioning. What is also most important is that we provide a whole series of software platform and cloud service. Apart from the O&M cloud service, we have Highlands Studio and Highlands Framework. With these two, we can let the beginner-level AI developers to develop the multimodal applications, which are known as Highlands Scale. We'll talk about Highlands Studio. It can help to address the long-standing pain points. For instance, if we want to develop a vision or audio-related AI applications, we have to commission the environment, install the dependency packages, and then do a lot of configurations. Now with just one click, we can use Highlands Studio. We also provide a simulator helping them with the on-the-cloud commissioning and the coordination between device and cloud. Highlands Framework can help the developers deal with the multimodal data, like the pre-handling, the codec of a video, and the post-processing. The developers don't need to pay attention to the details. All they need to do is to figure out what kind of input and output is needed, and we have encapsulated all the capabilities into the framework. Today, we are very honored to invite Mr. Zhang Hongbin, founder of Emotech, an AI company from the UK, as well as his colleague, Dr. James Medvesek, to share with us how we can use Highlands to develop the multimodal AI application. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Yuan, and thank you, Huawei Cloud. Hello, friends. I am CEO Zhang Hongbin from Emotech. Due to this epidemic, we are here doing the demo in London in 3 places. This is Yang. And our colleagues Xingyue, Lian. We are a company focusing on the multimodal AI. Multimodal AI can uniformly handle different kinds of AI technologies with wide applications. Education is a typical domain. In 2019, we were very honored to work with Huawei Cloud to develop multimodal AI English speaking skills improvement solution. It has the world's first AI evaluation technology that integrates analysis, shape of mouth, and pronunciation indicators, and it can be anti-noise and anti-interference, can apply to different scenarios. Also, in February this year, we used this multimodal AI video generation technology to quickly transform text into an AI virtual teacher to read the text, so as to help the students to better improve their skills. Across the world, multimodal has become a very important trend for AI development. Currently, it takes a long time to develop algorithms and a lot of computing power. Hylens has two features. First, it can realize fast development and deployment of device cloud coordination. And second, in the local desktop, the data can be processed to solve a lot of issues like privacy issue. Now, John will share with you about how we can use this suite and how we can do the evaluation of the skill and deploy it to the Highlands kit. Our colleague will also do a demo. Let's see how we can do it.
Hi, Yang, are you ready?
I'm ready, Robin. And
okay,
thanks
cool.
Thanks for introduction. My name is Jan and I'm a tech co-founder of Imatech. During my presentation, I'm going to show you how quickly it can be to build up a multimodal pronunciation assessment system using cloud device synergy. We set up one Highlands kit at Junior's Lillian's place, so I will operating it remotely. There are three main sections, so let's get started. And here you can see the Highlands console. First thing to check, skill market for the skill that you need, or you create one by yourself. To do that, go under skill development, and I would recommend to start with the skill templates. So I will choose the face detection skill template, go under create skill using template, you fill in the information like name, version, and down here, I will link my TensorFlow model that I previously trained using Huawei's ModelArts framework. Click OK, and that's it. Skill will be generated for me.
As you can see, Highlands console can allow you to use the marketplace to select the skills you will need, or you can use templates to quickly create it. Well, after the skill is created, how can we test it? How can we deploy it? Let's go back to Yang's demo.
Okay, Yang, so after creating the skill, how should I test and deploy it?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Robin. So you can do this in Highlands Studio. I go back to skill management and I will select the mouth detector skill that I previously prepared. After clicking OK, the Highlands Studio will be opened for me. It's very important to validate and test skills before the deployment. And thanks to the Highlands Studio, which features a really powerful emulator, you don't really need the real hardware to do that.
Well, that's quite
Through
useful.
Highlands Studio's cloud-based development scenario, developers can quickly develop, commission, simulate, deploy, and release so that AI application is more efficient. Let's take a look.
Well, so Yang, are you ready to show the magic?
Sure, I'm ready. Let's do it. So inside the Highlands Studio, you can see there is a main window with the associated code for my mouth detector skill. At the beginning, I linked the video input to simulate the Highlands camera, and I will set up the breakpoint. I go under debug and start debugging. After the code reaches the breakpoint, I can check all the variables, and that helps me a lot while I'm improving and analyzing my skill. So when I'm done with that, I go to debug and start without debugging. So in this mode, the skill runs exactly the same as running on the real Highlands kit. On the right hand side, you can see the real-time output, which shows that the face and mouth are detected correctly. And another very nice feature of Highlands Studio is the deployment. So you go under skill deploy, select the device, and with one click, the skill will be deployed on your Highlands kit.
Yes,
哦
Highland
that's very
Studio
impressive.
Simulator is based
对
on
的
Huawei
Highland
Kunpeng
Studio 中的
Cloud
模拟器
and
呢是基于
Ascend
华为
container
鲲鹏云
to
和生
simulate
成
the
容器
environment
模
so
拟
that
了
the
Highland
testing and
Skin 的
deployment
环
is
境，
very
这
fast.
使得这个测试跟部署
Okay,
非常的快
so
捷，
apart
所以不
from
仅有的。
the
那除了刚才我
cloud-based
们演
development
示的云端
platform,
开发平
Highlands
台
also
Highland Skin 提
provides
供了非常
the
强大
hardware
的这个
resources
端
that
侧
are
硬
really
件。
strong.
接下来杨会具体
Let's
介
look
绍。
at Yang's demo.
Yang, do you want to kind of show more about the advantages of the Highland Kit?
Yeah, sure. So the biggest advantage for us is that all major computation runs on Highlands locally. And not just that, it can also support multiple tablets at the same time. This is very relevant to our smart classroom system where multiple students practicing English simultaneously.
Okay, thanks. 所以相信大
Therefore,
家
I
已经
believe
能
you
感
have
受
already
到这个
felt
Highlands 的
the
强大功能。
strong
那接下来我们来
functionalities
看
of
一下
Highlands.
我们和
Let's
Highlands
look
平
at
台合
the
作开发出来的多
multimodal
模态技术
technical
方案。
solution
如前
that
面
is
提到
based
呢，
on the
我们的
platform.
多模
As
态技术
mentioned,
可以实
the
现非常好
technology
的抗
can
噪，更加的
be
准
able
确，并
to
且可以让
withstand
文本内容被听
interference.
到和
The
看到。
text can
那
be heard,
下面
can
我
be
们的同
seen.
事
Now
将来
our
演示在
colleagues
课堂
will
环
do a
境中我们
demo
的方
of
案是
how
如
it
何被
can
应
be
用的。
applied in a
在使
desk
用的
in
过
the
程中呢，他
classroom.
们将播
And
放一段
John
非
will
常
still
嘈杂的音
play a
频
very
来模
noisy
拟
clip
这个课
of
堂的这个嘈
audio
杂环境。
to simulate
Cool.
the classroom
Yang, shall we
environment.
start?
I'm ready. So I'm going back to device management, manage skills, and I find the skill that I need. So by clicking start, we're going to start it. And yeah, all good, skill is running. So Xin and Lilian, are you ready to demo it?
Yes. A cinema ticket.
So while they are speaking, both of the videos are streamed directly to the Highlands kit where they are processed and the scores are returned back to their tablets. How do you find scoring, Lilian?
Yeah, I think it's quite stable.
Even though when we were recording there were noises like Xingyuan and I were speaking at the same time, the evaluation engine's result is quite stable. And also with the introduction of a virtual teacher, it can greatly improve my efficiency of learning speaking skills, and we can do a comparison between the teacher's pronunciation and my pronunciation, and we can also look at the phoneme level pronunciations scores. And also, after every session, there will be a report, and you click it, you will be able to review what you have learned, to refer to the pronunciation radar as well as your comprehensive performance evaluation. Ren will now share with you the technology of the multimodal speaking evaluation and the technologies behind this virtual teacher.
Could you explain the technology behind this?
Yeah, of course. So we use a multimodal approach which has two main benefits. The first one is noise robustness. We send audio and visual features to a neural network where the attention mechanism decides which information is more valuable in every moment. And because the visual information is not affected by noise, the pronunciation score is much more stable comparing to the single model systems. The second benefit is provided audio-visual feedback through our text-to-video technology. We built a virtual teacher with realistic mouse movements to guide you towards better pronunciation, like in one-to-one teacher-student situation.
Alright, thanks, Yang and 心愿连连。所以刚才的 demo 呢，大家
Therefore, in the demo just now, you can see how the multimodal technology is very advantageous compared with a single model solution in the education domain because it's very accurate. It can withstand noise and it has a lot of effective correction feedback. And also, you can see with the multimodal AI, we can create a virtual teacher so that the text can be transformed into audio and video clips so that the students can enjoy more convenience. There are also many other powerful functionalities. Please scan the QR code if you're interested to have a hands-on experience.
Okay. Yang, so do you also want to add anything for the end?
Yeah, well, it was a real pleasure to showcase the potential of Highlands with our multimodal solution. But at the same time, I want to highlight that this is only one of the applications that benefits from using our multimodal approach. I believe that by using Highlands platform, everyone else can now explore multimodal possibilities.
Yes, as Zhang said, through working with Highlands, we hope that more and more multimodal technologies can help Chinese students and also students from across the world to improve their speaking skills. And we also hope more and more outstanding developers can join the Highlands multimodal platform to develop applications like that. That will be an end of our demo. Thank you very much. Now I will give the floor to Dr.
Thank you,
Yuan.
guys.
Cheers. Bye bye.
感谢洪斌和 Yang 的
Thank you
精
very
彩演
much,
示。
Hongbin and Yang, for your excellent sharing. Today we are very happy to share with you ModelArts Pro, which is an enterprise-level AI application development professional suite. It provides the enterprise AI productivity tool and also has shown you how we implement AI in the industry based on our practices. You can have the hands-on experience on our Huawei Cloud official website. And we also have developed this universal AI section. You can scan a QR code to learn more about our products and services. Eventually, we hope to work with the AI developers from all sectors to really implement AI in different sectors so that AI can enable all verticals can be within access. That will be the end of my sharing. Thank you very much.
Highlands enables ModelArts to become ubiquitous. Thank you, Yuanjing and Emotech partners for your wonderful sharing. We expect that Huawei Cloud AI will serve partners, developers, and our ecosystem to bring positive changes to the society. Now on the next speech. All developers know the importance of computing power. I think you have the same experience as me in queuing up for resources on the server. Powerful computing is the basis of AI and the deep learning applications. Next, let's welcome Zhang Dixuan, General Manager of Huawei Atlas Data Center Business, to talk about development based on all-scenario Atlas AI computing platform. Good morning, developers. I am Zhang Dixuan from Huawei Computing Product Line. The world's fastest AI training cluster, Atlas 900, launched last year, was developed by me together with my team. I am honored to share with you the Atlas AI computing platform and the related development practices in all scenarios of cloud, edge, and device. Human society has entered the intelligent era, from cities to homes, from industries to personal applications. AI has begun to change the production and the life of human beings. Can we use one architecture to cover all device, edge, cloud AI scenarios? And that is the world-class puzzle that our scientists have been troubling about. As we can see, the difference in computing power and the power consumption between a headset and a data center AI application is 10 million times and 200,000 times respectively. If different architectures and hardware are used, a huge amount of algorithm porting and a development workload will be needed. To address this challenge, we started the technical verification of the unified architecture of AI processors in 2014 and completed the architecture design named Da Vinci in 2 years. The core of Da Vinci architecture is the Cube computing engine, which features scalable computing, memory, and on-chip network. The single cube to multi-cube connection in chips and the interconnection between the single chip and the thousands of chips solve the problems caused by huge computing power differences in all scenarios, providing developers with consistent development experience on the device, edge, and cloud. For example, 2,000 years ago, Emperor Qin Shi Huang unified China and unified written characters, roles, and languages. This freed Chinese people from communication difficulties and the so-called protocol conversion. The unified Da Vinci architecture reduced the workload of program porting and code rewriting. This will greatly improve the efficiency of developers. Based on Da Vinci architecture, we have launched Ascend 910 for AI training and Ascend 310 for AI inference, and built the Atlas AI computing platform to cover AI requirements in all cloud, edge, device scenarios. Next, I will introduce Atlas-based AI development practices in all scenarios from the cloud, edge, and the device perspectives. First, I'd like to share with you a cloud AI scenario. There are 37 cities with a population of more than 10 million people around the world. 6 of them are in China. For example, there are 3 million vehicles and 3,000 road intersections in a city with a population of 20 million people. 43 million images of passing vehicles are generated every day. How can this data be analyzed in real time? This is key to urban traffic management. Currently, the mainstream solution is to deploy computing power and applications on the road and on the cloud to analyze vehicle recognition, traffic violation recognition, and traffic flow data. As we can see, 3,000 servers are required if general-purpose processors are used. If the GPU solution is used, 72 to 144 servers are required. But if NPU solution optimized for AI is adopted, only 60 servers are required, greatly reducing the number of servers to be deployed and the power consumption. We have entered the next golden decade of computing architecture innovation. We need to continuously invest on software and hardware innovation and optimization based on scenarios. Thanks to developers from partners such as DeepClint, CMO, and CloudWalk. Huawei and its Atlas 800 AI servers have built a high-density AI inference solution. As you can see, before the optimization, a single server could process 320 channels of HD videos, which is the industry's leading level. However, the potential of Atlas was not fully utilized. After software and hardware optimization, a single server can process a maximum of 384 channels, further improving performance. This is not the end point. We will continue to release the AI computing power of current products and launch stronger AI products in the second half of the year. Next, I will introduce the Atlas-based performance optimization process, which includes bottleneck analysis, model operator optimization, memory optimization, hardware codecs, and process orchestration. Model operator optimization and process orchestration are the most relevant to developers. Next, let's invite my colleague, AI developer Lai Changling, to give us a demonstration. Welcome. Hello everyone. To demonstrate the optimization method, I used the toy face recognition as an example. First, let's look at the effect before the optimization based on the Atlas 300 single card. So as you can see, there are already 48 channels of HD videos. So is there further room for improvement? Yes. Let's add more channels. The number of channels was increased from 40 to 48. To evaluate the performance, we zoom in on the first video channel. The train motion on the left of the screen indicates that the screen froze. This does not meet the real-time processing requirements. To solve this performance problem, you need to perform optimization analysis from the perspectives of computing bottleneck, I/O bottleneck, and memory bottleneck. The following describes ways to optimize the computing bottleneck from the perspective of model operator optimization. To process 48 channel videos in real time, the model inference time must be within 13 milliseconds. According to the sampling of the inference interface, the inference time of the YOLO V3 Tiny model used in the program was 15 milliseconds. To optimize the model, you need to analyze the time required for finer-grained operators. You can use the MindSpore performance analysis tool. Open MindSpore and view the performance analysis results. Pay special attention to the OME during the execution of the offline model. You can view the time consumed by the operator during model processing, rank the time consumed by operators. It is found that the convert2D operator and the multiplication operator took the longest time. The convert2D convolution operator ran on a cube to give full play to the computing capability of hardware. However, the mul operator uses the web unit, which does not fully utilize the capability. The optimization idea is that to replace the mul multiplication operator with the operator that completes the same function on a cube. What's the function of the mul operator in the model? Let's look at the model. The mul operator multiplies the input data by the normalization coefficient of 0.0039 and maps the input data to the 0-1 interval. The AIPP provided by the Ascend AI processor contains the mul normalization function and can complete calculation on a cube. In addition, the AIPP contains multiple optimization templates and can be combined with other operators, further improving the model inference efficiency. How to add AIPP to the model? Use the model conversion tool of MindSpore. Import the YOLO v3 tiny model that deletes the mul operator and enter the size of the model to be processed, which is 4 batches. Disable quantization, set AIPP, set the model input to RGB, disable subtraction, and set the normalization factor. Click Finish. The model conversion is successful. Incorporate the project into the optimized project. The video is now smooth without frame freezing, and now 48-channel real-time processing is completed. Thank you, Changling. We can see the comparison results before and after the optimization. The left shows the 40-channel HD video real-time analysis before the optimization, and the right shows the 48-channel HD video. 40-channel is already better than similar products in the industry, but now the performance is improved immediately. Thank you, Lai Changling. Computing is ubiquitous, and edge computing has started to emerge. Today, I'd like to share with you an application scenario of edge computing, which is also a common scenario. Product quality is the lifeline of every enterprise. At present, the quality inspection in manufacturing industry is mostly completed by manual work, which is dangerous in a working environment with high work intensity and a special working procedure. However, the accuracy is only about 90%. In recent years, machine vision-based quality inspection has been promoted in the manufacturing industry. Accuracy rate has reached about 95%, but it still does not meet enterprises' expectations. Many companies need to perform manual secondary quality inspection after purchasing expensive quality inspection devices. The industry has been looking for better solutions, and AI industrial quality inspection has emerged. We know that lean production originated from Japan. The workshop will arrange many Kanban boards besides the production line. One Kanban board will let employees attach emoticons that represent their feelings. For example, when I am very happy, I attach a smiley face symbol next to my name. This indicates that human factors would affect the quality of production. This is especially the case for the boring quality inspection work. It is difficult to rely on staff to fully ensure the accuracy of quality inspection. This requires the power of technology to free people from the tedious and repetitive work and to improve the quality of the end results. At Huawei's Songshan Lake base, we deployed the Atlas-based AI industrial quality inspection solution to enable Atlas production. This is a very interesting application scenario. Huawei cooperates with AD-Link to upgrade the LS300 AI accelerator card and the AD-Link intelligent industrial PC, enabling each industrial sensor to have AI capabilities. Huawei supply chain application team has developed AI quality inspection algorithms based on neural networks such as SSD and UNet, improving the accuracy of quality inspection to 99% and even 99.9% for some processes. This was an exciting achievement. In addition, we have opened these AI quality inspection algorithm models to the Ascend community. You are encouraged to scan the QR code to download. Different products are manufactured in production line. To meet the flexible production requirements of the production line, we use the Cloud Edge collaboration solution to quickly deliver and deploy the cloud training model to the edge, improving the service model update efficiency by more than 3 times. Now let's watch the video of intelligent quality inspection of the factory in Songshan Lake.
东莞松山湖华为生产中心建筑面积约47万平方米。Atlas 800 AI 服务器全制造过程采用 AI 机器视觉进行实时质量检测。Atlas 300 AI 加速卡为产线边缘计算处理器提供低功耗、超强算力和解码能力。多录2000万像素高清工业图像，毫秒级实时 AI 分析，实现了名牌遗漏、错误、螺钉缺失在线检测。 准确率提升到99.9%，云边协同，通过采集制造过程中产生的数据，在云端优化训练模型，自动推送优化后的模型到各生产环节，更好地提升效率。Atlas AI 质检解决方案为产品制造质量护航，升腾万里，让智能无所不及。
So I share with you the edge and the cloud applications. Next, I share with you how to use AI capabilities on the device. Our partners have created the visualized inspection solution for smart power transmission lines, which features solar power supply, wireless communication, and intelligent analysis. This solution solves the high-risk problems such as rugged mountain roads and high-altitude cabling encountered during manual inspection. That has troubled the industry for more than 10 years. By deploying the visual integrated device on a high-voltage tower, the traditional solution only monitored once every hour. As a result, the accident that occurs within 1 hour could not be predicted. With the AI analysis capability of the Atlas 200 module, the monitoring is performed every minute, implementing quasi-real-time analysis of potential risks, such as external objects, mechanical intrusion, and line damage. In addition, the solar power supply and ultra-low power consumption design are used to ensure that the device can run continuously without sunlight for 20 days, ensuring the power consumption security of the society. Here, we'd like to thank our partners, Sentachi, ZHY, and the Sentech Group for their contributions to the power industry. This solution solves 3 major problems: ultra-low power consumption, maintenance-free on towers, and quasi-real-time analysis. Our partners put forward many ingenious suggestions in the solution design, which gave us a lot of inspiration. For example, with ultra-low power consumption, the average power consumption of the entire device is reduced to about 1 watt by using technologies such as milliwatt level hibernation and millisecond level wake-up. In this way, only 1 degree of power consumption is required after a device runs for 1,000 hours. To quickly build a joint solution and reduce the development workload of partners, we fully explore Atlas capabilities and devise the RC working mode to prevent partners from changing the software and hardware architecture solution and solve the communication problem between the Atlas 200 and the host CPU. It also shows that developers' imagination is endless. Currently, many partners and developers are making AI innovations based on Atlas 200 modules, including drones, robots, and industrial robotic arms. To help developers better use AI, we provide the Atlas 200 DK Development Suite for scientific research, universities, and industrial or individual developers to develop AI products. Let's invite Professor Li Tao of Nankai University to share the innovative practices in scientific research based on Huawei Atlas 200 DK. Hello everyone, I'm from School of Computer Science of Nankai University, and I major in the intelligent computing of iGround images. First, what is iGround? As the name suggests, the inside of the bottom part of the eyeball, including the retina, optic disc, macula, and arteriovenous veins. Retina vessels are the only visible blood vessels in the body, and doctors use them as a window into other organs. Retinal arteriosclerosis can be seen under the eyes of patients with high blood pressure. For those with diabetics, you can see capillary hemangioma, bleeding points, and exudates. This applies to cardiocerebrovascular diseases, kidney diseases, and etc. Therefore, we can use AI technology through the eye-ground image for pathological marking and intelligent calculation to identify chronic diseases through naked eyes. According to statistics, there are 118 million diabetic patients in China in 2017, with an average rate of 10.4%. What's more serious is that the number of undiagnosed diabetes patients is about 63.5%. Among them, the rate of diabetic retinopathy is 24.7% to 37.5%, among which there are about 6 million patients with severe visual impairment and a diabetic retinopathy. In addition, there are 300 million people with cardiocerebrovascular disease and 500 million healthy people who require health check. According to the previous introduction, eye-ground screening can effectively monitor this kind of chronic disease and do a good job of prevention and treatment. However, according to the 2019 report released by the National Health Commission, there are about 45,000 ophthalmologists in China, among which about 12,000 are practicing doctors with license. There are even fewer, about 1,400, at 3% of eye-ground doctors. Obviously, the ratio of doctors to patients is very uneven. With the rapid development of AI, especially deep learning, the ability of ImageNet to distinguish image data sets has exceeded that of humans. In addition, the deep learning model can be used to improve the accuracy of eye-ground image processing. The application of AI will greatly improve the work efficiency of doctors and make possible the large-scale eye-ground screening. Huawei Atlas 200DK is used to set up a system to implement comprehensive auxiliary diagnosis and treatment processes from eye-ground image data collection, model inference, and report generation, greatly reducing the image reading and diagnosis time of doctors. From the reports of COVID-19, we know that the first 3 hospitals with online diagnosis and treatment were included into the Wuhan medical insurance. It is foreseeable that online services for many common and chronic diseases will be widely available on the Internet. In the future, AI acceleration modules, such as the Atlas 200, can be integrated into the embedded eye-ground camera, and online diagnosis can be performed using the Internet, greatly improving the chronic disease detection and the prevention capabilities. As we all know, next, let me show you the demonstration of our eye-ground image intelligent system. First of all, my colleague will take the image of my eye-ground. Next, this image will be transmitted through the wireless network to my laptop. When that is finished, we use Huawei Atlas 200 and the model deployed on it for intelligent computing. The speed is very impressive. After the prediction, a report can be generated. Let's print this report, send it to doctors for a review. As we all know, algorithms, data, and computing power are the 3 carriers of AI. Currently, there are classical models such as VGG, Google Inception, ResNet, and GAN, which provide abundant references for intelligent processing of eye-ground images. Obviously, the rapid development of cloud computing and supercomputers has provided AI with powerful computing power, and data may become a major constraint in eye-ground image processing. We have launched the eye-ground image analysis dataset with other organizations, which includes two subsets, DDR and ODIR, to train the identification model of diabetic retinopathy and other related devices. Tens of thousands of eye-ground images are collected from 42 types of eye-ground cameras in more than 400 hospitals across the country. The images have been marked and reviewed by expert groups and have obtained the China Association of Medical Equipment certification. Among them, 757 labels of lesions are the highest numbers of open data sets in the world. Currently, these labels are open on GitHub. As the research progresses, they will be supplemented and improved. We hope to provide a clinical environment-based, high-quality, and large-size dataset. You are welcome to scan and download. AI-assisted diagnosis and treatment ultimately depends on the deployment of trained models. The Atlas 200 AI Acceleration Module provides powerful computing capabilities for such model inference. The Atlas 200DK is equipped with a powerful Ascend 310 chip with low power consumption. It integrates a variety of interfaces but has a small size, which makes it easy to deploy. The Atlas 200DKK can be easily deployed in device-side scenarios. The mature toolchain facilitates the development and deployment of AI applications. In addition, there are abundant development documents and community support. For example, the auxiliary diagnosis and treatment system can be used in the medical industry to reduce the cost of medical devices and facilitate doctors' visits. Performance comparisons are made with several mainstream server-level CPUs and GPUs. The following figure shows that the logarithmic axis, whose rated power is much higher than that of the Atlas 200DK. When the CPU time is the longest and the performance of the GPU and the Atlas 200DK is close. The power consumption of the GPU and the Atlas 200DK is much higher than that of the GPU and the Atlas 200DK. The Atlas 200DK has the highest energy efficiency ratio and achieves a balance between the inference speed and the power consumption. More importantly, the Atlas 200DK outperforms these computing devices in terms of portability and price. It is believed that the Atlas 200DK will be widely used in many AI fields in the future. Professor Li's research results touched me greatly. If this kind of tool to test your eyes is widely used in the future, it will greatly improve the disease screening efficiency and benefit the entire society. This is also the unremitting pursuit of AI developers. Today, I will release TBE, a highly efficient operator development tool based on Ascend, and start the OBT. The TBE has a rich built-in operator library and supports two programming modes, including DSL and TIK. The DSL mode is easy to use, and the TIK mode can maximize the hardware performance. The Python language is supported. We plan to award more than 100 excellent universities and partners that contribute operators to Ascend, and reward them based on the workload and code quality. Let me show you the IDE interface of the TBE. First, we have designed a graphical user interface for project management, compilation, and debugging in the IDE. Second, it integrates tools such as performance analysis, model quantization, model precision comparison, and log analysis, improving the efficiency of network model porting, analysis, and optimization. In addition, to lower the technical threshold for developers, typical examples of computing engine code, such as the classification network and detection network, are present in the IDE. For a more detailed introduction to TPE programming, please stay tuned for this afternoon's live broadcast of the Online Developer Saloon. For developers, we have built a developer-centric enablement platform, the Ascend Developer Community. In the Ascend Developer Community, you can obtain technical documents, download development tools, such as the TPE Operator Development Tool, and code samples, such as the Manufacturing Quality Inspection Model, from the Resource Center. The community also provides courses on AI theory, ethics, practices, and application cases. Online Q&A, remote support, and experience sharing are also provided in the support center to help developers quickly get started. AI innovation is within reach. Our ideal is to develop the most powerful product so that developers can develop great products that change the world based on our products and services. Let's dream big and fly high. Thank you. Thank you very much, Di Xuan, Changling, and Professor Li Tao. Developers are at the heart of digital world, and computing power is the driving force for intelligent world. We look forward to welcoming more developers who will build more applications based on Huawei Atlas AI computing platform and jointly pull ahead for a diversified and prosperous intelligent world. Huawei made strategic investments in the cloud and AI area since early times. We officially released AI strategy in a full-stack all-scenario AI solutions in 2018 and launched the computing strategy of one cloud, two winds, and two engines based on Kunpeng and Ascend in 2019. At the turn of 2020, a major organizational readjustment was made, which resulted in the creation of Cloud and AI BG, the fourth BG to be created in Huawei. I'm sure you have lots of questions for the cloud and AI businesses. Our guests here today are, first of all, Mr. Hou Jinglong, President of Cloud and AI BG, Mr. Zhang Shunmao, CTO of Cloud and AI BG, Tian Qi, Chief Scientist of Computer Vision, Huawei's Noah's Ark Lab, and Xu Yingtong, President of Ascend Computing. Chen Liang, Huawei Cloud AI General Manager. Let's welcome our guests. Please be seated. Now let's get the Q&A session going. First of all, thank you very much for guests and for developers online. You're welcome to leave your questions, any of them, in the chat box, and we'll make sure that your questions are put across to the guests here. The first question. So what's the first question coming from online? All right, the first question is coming, about many of them. The first one is, Huawei continues investing into computing industry. So what is the difference between the role of developers in computing industry compared with those in other industries? First of all, can Mr. Hou give your answer on this? Thank you very much. First of all, I am very happy to talk to you via this form and to meet with developers. First of all, good morning to everyone. Well, you ask a great question. For Huawei that worked on classical communication industry and today's IT industry, we have witnessed big differences. IT industry is one that is based on ecosystem. Classical communication industry was about providing end-to-end solution to the customers and something that we could done on our own. Instead, for the IT industry that focuses on the bottom layer, infrastructure, and a cloud platform. However, our customers come from various different sectors and industries, and we also work with software and application partners. That is why we need developers who can develop differentiated software for different scenarios. Therefore, developers are the soul of industry of computing. They also drive enterprise innovations. They have the power to change this world. Huawei focuses on developing computing power via Kunpeng and Ascend. We deliver great tools and platforms on which the developers develop and build applications, software, help customers address their issues, enable enterprise innovations, maximize developers' values, as well as the commercial value of enterprises. Thank you very much for your question. Thank you, Mr. Ho. Developers are the soul of computing industry. Second question, still to Mr. Ho, from someone who watched your presentation yesterday. As you mentioned, you have written 500,000 lines of code. Is that true? Are you still writing code today? Well, I majored in computer science. And of course, I wrote a lot of code at university, and I kept writing code for over a decade. But we had, much outdated equipment at that time. In the past, after writing the code, I need to do compilation among many other works, which took me a full night and day. But today, if we want to compile and launch it online, it's taking much less time, even less time than smoking a cigarette. I experienced both the present and the past, so developers today are really blessed in my view. I have written code for over 10 years, but in the 10 years that followed, I did not write code. I started to learn Python some years before, trying to write code in Python. I can do some basic coding. I can do Pascal, among other languages, to C++ today. There are many more languages and tools than we had before. We have much better computing power today than before, so developers today are very blessed. Right, that is also what I feel. Today we are so blessed with so many languages and tools. Next is a student question to Tianqi. So you mentioned multimodality development. Voice, image have been developing for a long time, but video multimodality still has a short history. So what are the main challenges?
Multimodality. Everyone can hear me, right? Okay. Multimodal learning, we believe, is the major trend for machine learning, but it faces a lot of challenges. For example, the feature representation, the alignment, the fusion of models, as well as the coordinated learning between different modalities. In the computer vision domain, for example, in terms of the scenarios such as self-driving cars, we have radar that sends images, the GPS signals. All of those can help us to improve the perception awareness of different scenarios. And we think that there are some technologies that can be shared across different domains to resolve those issues. Okay, good. So can I ask you a follow-up question based on your answer, because you're a practitioner in this field? For CV and cloud related domain, do you have any suggestions for the further exploration of multimodal learning? In terms of multimodal learning, compared with single modal learning, there are a lot of similarities, such as feature representation, which is quite helpful, like extracting the features, the fusion of multimodals. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tian, for your sharing. The next question is forwarded to Mr. Zhang Shuanmao. I am an IT engineer. My question is, the partners that participate in this HDC.Cloud and the contest, do you have some incentives for further cooperation with them? Because currently we're seeing technical solutions, but what about some profitable solutions in the future? Thank you very much for your interest in our Huawei developer program. This question is about that program. Our program is open to all the developers. In 2015, we released the first phase of that program, known as Huawei Developer Program 1.0, and then in September last year, we released the 2.0 program, where we have hundreds of millions of US dollars to support the developers. And we not only provide support for development, but also for sales, because eventually we hope that the developers' software applications can have a final fruitful commercial success. So when we are designing this program, we center around the end-to-end life cycle. In the very beginning, it's learning, because the developers might not be that familiar with Huawei's Kunpeng, ModelArts, and Highlands, which was just released today. Well, they first have this learning phase. We have LDF, Learn Promotion Fund. After they learn the basics, they will start programming. And that is called PDF, Product Development Fund. After which, it's go to market. We have MDF, Marketing Development Fund. And promotion is not sufficient. Eventually, you need to monetize from your discovery or from your development. So in our channel policies, we have offered incentives. For example, some rebates for our solutions. The certifications at different levels can also encourage different kinds of support. Okay, thank you very much. Next question is addressed to Mr. Chen Liang. I am a software engineer. Currently, the development of AI, is it the same with the traditional form of development, or will it finally replace the legacy mode? I think, compared with the traditional software development, the AI-related development is both similar and also different. I believe that when you ask this question, you are interested in the differences, right? Well, there are two most important challenges for AI development. First, difficult to get on board, because not everyone can do parameter fine-tuning for TensorFlow, PyTorch. A lot of the enterprise developers want to leverage artificial intelligence to resolve their business issues. When they start to use such AI development, they hope that there can be a platform on top of which the developers can receive guidance and can use the pre-embedded algorithms so as to directly get the result from the input of data. Okay, thank you very much. Huawei has provided a very good platform so that these new beginners can quickly get on board. Next one is addressed to Mr. Xu. I'm a board engineer. Kunpeng has offered a lot of wonderful statistics and so is Ascend. Can we see the coming of its mass production in the recent days? What is the prospect? First of all, thank you very much for the passion for our domain, because today the participants joining for our section has exceeded our record, even though it's an online broadcast. What I want to tell you first is you have chosen a right approach and a appropriate domain, because we believe that AI will eventually change the future. Let's look at the industrial policies. Different countries, I would say 40 or so, have already formulated AI preferential policies. So first of all, we have the national policy support. Second, starting from last year, with Atlas, our Ascend chips introduction in influencing with the combination of electronics and other domains, we have received quite positive feedback from the verticals, because they show how we are able to improve efficiency, which are basically impossible if we use the traditional methods. We also have our ecosystem strategy by opening up hardware and open source software while enabling our developers. Speaking of the opening up of hardware, in order to help the hardware developers to quickly migrate to our development board, we provide PCB forums and development communities and all the other kinds of channels to support them. This whole industry is undergoing a booming period. Will it finally be widely applied? I would say that, like the old saying goes, the future is not forecasted, it's built. So we hope to work with all the developers to come up with a successful product, a successful solution, and a successful ecosystem, so as to finally promote the AI's mass application. Okay, thank you very much. I feel very impassioned by your answer, and I want to register at this community this instant. The next question is from a university professor. Just now we saw the testing model provided by Mr. Li Tao. So I would like to ask Huawei about the collaboration with universities. Are there any new plans? Well, university collaboration is a very important part of our Huawei developer program. We have 4 different targets. First is higher institutions, scientific agencies. Let me give you a few examples. We work with worldwide universities, in particular with Chinese universities in their mathematics, software, CS majors, big data institutes, and all the other related institutes. First, in the field of textbooks, because we want university students to learn about the basics of Kunpeng and Ascend. Our current CS major curriculum is based on x86, NVIDIA, Google, TensorFlow, and such. So the first thing for our collaboration is that the university can teach students about our products. So last year we released a textbook on the Kunpeng Architecture textbook. We also have several dozen of teaching materials where the teachers can help the students to better understand our products. And second, laboratories. What kind of computers are students using right now? Mostly x86, right? So we need to renovate the university's laboratories so that they will be able to performing experiments on Kunpeng and Ascend. And third, research projects. We also have targeted plans, like what Mr. Tian talked about, the basic research and the mathematics library, acceleration library. We want to work with the universities to migrate the libraries from x86 to Kunpeng, from NVIDIA-based operators to Ascend ecosystem, and make it open source so that it's available for everyone. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, let me add on that. As Patrick Zhang Shunmao said, and I actually was engaged in a cooperation with universities. By January, this AI Ascend ecosystem have incorporated over 40 universities in jointly providing tutorials. And last week, we worked with Shanghai Jiaotong University to provide an optional course based on Huawei Ascend ecosystem. So you are all welcome to go to our official website, download the application form, and join the Huawei Developer Program. Thank you very much. Me, also a AI industry practitioner, I'm seeing lots of cooperation with universities. We can provide them with algorithms, data, and models, etc. So the next question is to Mr. Hou. This is a colleague from the startup. And he said, what technical support does Huawei provide to the startups? And what are the new policies for startups that they can benefit from? During Huawei Connect 2019 in last September, we released our computing industry strategy of open hardware, open source software, and enabling partners. The purpose of this strategy is to attract developers, including mature companies, startup companies, or any companies, as long as they have this willingness of joining into our ecosystem. Because computing industry starts from processor, integrated equipment, OS, database, to industry-based applications. It covers a very wide area with a variety of developers and companies that can all find the place for them to perform very well in this industry. So we invested $1.5 billion, and we wish to cultivate 5 million developers within 5 years. Today we have developed over 1.6 million. For the rest of this year, we're going to invest an additional $200 million. And this $200 million, as Zhang Shunmao said, will cover universities, startups, partners, and developers. These developer incentives are all available on our official website. For example, startups can obtain a maximum of 750,000 renminbi of fund. It takes various forms, such as cloud coupons, training coupons, developers boards, or even in cash. So they enjoy lots of different forms of incentives. For example, we provide our developers board free of charge. We also provide online development environment for you for free. We also provide enabling services to companies. After processor and the motherboards, we will also cover the design of integrated equipment, and we will open up the specification of integrated equipment. We have decades of experience in database and OS, which will also be open source. Yesterday, we, as well as several partners, released the OpenEuler LTS version. For database, this is the same. It will be open source in approximately June this year. we do welcome developers to utilize our open source database and release their own commercial version of a database based on our open source database and provide differentiated products and services to their own customers. I'd like to add a few things for the startups. The startups typically have lots of ideas but don't have enough funding or market opportunities. So we do provide them with the services they need. For the funding, for example, in yesterday's meeting, we announced something for startups. We had competition. We had a competition, the final round of a competition held for the startups in yesterday's afternoon. Great and the top contestants from the competition will have an opportunity to connect with venture capitalists through our ecosystem. So we are building this platform so that startups can meet the VCs. The startups can provide roadshow. The VCs can evaluate your projects, and if they like your projects, they are very likely to invest. So that's how we address the funding challenge. What about the market? Well, if the VC likes you, they will bring you the market opportunities. That's for one. And for second, Huawei have our own selected partner market on which we will be demonstrating top and excellent startup projects and recommend them to our global sales channels and distributor partners. Thank you very much. So the great news is that we have very diversified and tailored incentives for startups and universities. The next question comes from a university student to Tianqi. What do you think are the hot topics coming next for computer vision or breakthroughs for computer vision? Since 1966, on MIT's summit, computer vision was proposed, and it has had a history of over 5 to 6 decades, and recently developed very rapidly due to deep learning, supervised learning, etc. But it has slowed down in recent years because the dividend of CV has phased out. So looking ahead, I think there are two big trends. It aims at addressing 3 different issues.
About the model data and the combination between model and data, because from the fully supervised learning to semi-supervised to weak supervised or even to non-supervised learning, we need a lot of unlabeled data. And then in terms of our All Things Invention plan, we hope to further develop it within the next 3 to 5 years. And then in terms of extraction of knowledge as well as the learning of common sense, we need to incorporate that into our inferencing. So on the one hand, the computer graphics and the CV computer vision technologies can be combined so as to compose our virtual scenarios. So first, we can deal with the issue of data labeling. Second, in the virtual scenario, we can directly train the agent. For example, we can train the driving behavior. Of course, you have to make sure that it can be simulated as closely as our real-life experience. So these are the 2 plans where we use the general training models and to incorporate knowledge into our inference. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Tian. Just now he has mentioned the keywords. Please bear it in mind. Next is still addressed to you, Mr. Tian. This participant joined our last year's Huawei developer campaigns in Beijing. So when will we resume our offline activities? Because you want to learn more and want to interact with more developers. Well, indeed, every year we have the offline activity called DevRAM. We held such activities in almost every city last year. This year, we plan to have a face-to-face summit for the HDC.Cloud. It was scheduled to hold in February in Shenzhen, but due to this COVID-19 epidemic, we decided to make it an online live streaming activity. And we found out that it's quite effective, right? Yesterday actually, there was more than 10 million participants online, which has gone far beyond our expectation. In terms of our offline activities, when this epidemic is over, we will resume these offline campaigns. But seeing the quite good effect of this online HDC.Cloud, we hope to take a parallel approach so that more and more developers can learn about our experiences, our cases. And after this epidemic is over, we will meet you offline. Okay, thank you very much. When this is all over, we will resume all of those activities. Next is addressed to Mr. Xu. He is an IT engineer. Kunpeng and Ascend platforms collaboration progress is what he wanna ask about. Well, Huawei's Kunpeng and Ascend ecosystems are open ecosystems. The reason we call it open is that when it comes to our full stack or scenario AI solution, different stacks and different levels are different. Our Kunpeng and Ascend computing power needs not only chipset enablement, but also the support of the corresponding operating system. So as long as our customers' mainstream OS are within the range that our stack offers, then they are compatible. And we will also give priority to Huawei's related systems. As for the other system support, we rely on you to help to connect all of those systems, because we think it's going to be very efficient for that migration. And on top of this operating system, we have this CAN enablement architecture, which is also open to all the verticals applications. Soon we will have the Ascend CR, the unified heterogeneous programming architecture, featuring Python, C, C++, Java, and all the mainstream programming languages. This morning, you have also learned about our design concept. So all in all, we hope to target at our customers' applications to address their pain points. We hope that the developers can join us, and we believe that in the future, usability, openness, and abundance of our ecosystem will support the development of AI industry. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Xu. There is a follow-up question for you. It's about Huawei's chips. When will they be open instead of being released in terms of suites or servers, because they cannot meet the scenarios in the industrial applications? Well, our chip set approach targets at all kinds of scenarios, and for different scenarios we have different requirements. For instance, in the lower end, it focuses on the chip development as it will be embedded into our surveillance cameras. But as for edge and data center, why do we use modules, and why we use standard cards to develop? The primary reason is that when we develop a system, especially a complicated system targeted at the data center, functionality is one thing, compatibility is another thing. In our past experience, a lot of issues aren't caused by functionalities. Instead, it's caused by the context, by the compatibility issues. With standardized modules, Huawei can leverage its experiences in hardware and in safety sector, so that a new developer don't need to care about those issues. And we also have PCIe standard card, so that you can easily interconnect that with your legacy system. That's why we have chosen this approach. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Xu. Next question is addressed to Mr. Hou. This is an overseas developer. He would like to learn about Huawei's overseas developer community. plan? Is there any plan for holding such a HDC.Cloud overseas? Actually, our HDC targets at worldwide developers. Worldwide developers, actually, because we believe the computing sector is a global sector. Developers come from different countries, so are the technologies. There shall be no borders as we target at different verticals applications around the world. In terms of offline, whether it's in Russia, Europe, or in other countries and regions, we have seen some successful cases. The developers in these regions have already joined this industry. I would like to add one thing. Starting from the year before, we held our ecosystem conference in Europe. During which we probably didn't pay much attention to the developers. Well, we think that in the future we will offer more face-to-face or hands-on related experience sharing. Apart from holding overseas summits, we also have a lot of open labs. Huawei Enterprise BG helped build these open labs in Munich, Singapore, Mexico, Russia, Dubai, and many other countries and regions. What is the purpose of the Open Lab? It helps the developers with open tests, as it provides a testing environment with some prototypes and related support, so that the local developers have a venue for further development. Okay, thank you very much, Patrick, for your further sharing. I think that in terms of our overseas developer community, it will keep growing. As Mr. Ho said, there is no boundary.
The next question to Mr. Chen Liang from an IT engineer. The question is, currently Huawei has a platform similar to App Store, where technologies are released, as well as development interfaces and solutions, so that startups can make good use of them. So on Huawei Cloud, there is Huawei Cloud IDE. The Cloud IDE is based on Huawei's 30 years of development experience, APIs, and suites. So you ask about whether or not do we provide a platform for them. Yes, they can go to Huawei Cloud IDE, which serves as a similar function to the Apple's App Store. You can download an application. We provide you with Java, C, JavaScript, Python, among all the development suite. Thank you. Let me add. So Mr. Chen mentioned our online resources. Our AI, Ascend, and Kunpeng actually face both online and offline. We have a series of hardware and software development suite to help developers migrate quickly and efficiently and develop applications. First of all, Atlas 200 today comes in two versions. First, Atlas 200 DK. The DK version is for the offline scenario. It has our Atlas hardware and OS, including the full stack of it, and developers can quickly build development environment based on it. The second version is Atlas 200 Highlands, which is facing the public cloud scenario, where you can find the cloud development suite. So you have the hardware and also camera supporting technology. For the software, well, in the coming year, we will face the 10 key industries and open source our development SDK, including exemplary code, the pre-trained models, as well as in future where we will work with the Noah's Ark, as Ms. Tian Qi said today about the computer vision model. And Mr. Tian promised that we'll make this computer vision model open So be reassured, and you're welcome to go to our developer community, and you can get all the information you need. Let me add one more thing. On this computer vision plan, we do have a website for you, and you are all welcome to go there. First of all, we have lots of accumulation on the fundamental research. We can provide open source code and share those results with you. In addition, Ascend chipset porting and MindSpore representation and open source will all be supported so that more developers will be enabled to jointly develop applications with us. Thank you very much, Tianqi and Xu Yingtong. Next, an AI algorithm engineer has a question for Zhang Shunmao. Will Huawei provide more forms other than forum for developers, such as other forms of community? Yes, of course. Open source community is something that the whole world likes, and it is an efficient environment in which developers can share and co-create. Yesterday, Mr. Hou Jinlong released the OpenEuler LTS version. It is already available on the GitHub platform, a platform for code sharing and collaboration. So this LTS version is officially released. And based on this, 4 basic OS vendors have released their own, such as Killing, CETC, Union Tech, and ISCAS, who will release their own professional version of OS based on the OpenEuler. So in such an open source community, you can also find, apart from the companies I mentioned, more and more university and students, as well as community developers who will actively take part in this joint effort. There are lots of acceleration libraries, model libraries, and MindSpore that was just released this morning, a Ascend-based computing framework, also can be found in GitHub. So lots of important products and platforms are released in these 2 days. One is the MindSpore, an AI computing framework, and second, the OpenEuler LTS released yesterday. So we do encourage you to join this community. Apart from this community, well, the point is this community is not fighting on its own, but is connected with all other communities. OpenEuler, for example, is working with ARM, Linux, and many other open source communities in sharing the ecosystem, and we have compatible interfaces, so have no concern. We are not creating and starting something from zero, but we work and share with the whole world. Our instruction set is compatible with the global ARM ecosystem. Thank you very much. How time flies. There are lots of questions, but now we have time for the final question to Mr. Hou. So the question is, what is Huawei's long-term strategy for the computing industry? What is Huawei's confidence and the resolution that we all long to see? Just now I talked about our computing industry strategy of open hardware, open source software, and enabling partners. The core of this strategy is, of course, the ecosystem development. $1.5 billion investment in the next 5 years is something already being released and budgeted for. We aim to develop 5 million developers in the next 5 years. We want, of course, 5 million in less than 5 years, because according to the progress today, I doubt we need 5 years, actually. So that is our ecosystem plan, including talent training, partners, startups, and etc., etc. So all of these strategies are firmly and surely released. And second, we should keep true to our own focuses, which is core processor and the hardware. We want to converge the power around the world, and we focus on building processors, including Kunpeng and Ascend, and the hardware. We want to make the processors leading and powerful that meet the requirements of efficient, abundant, and green computing, because computing power is the infrastructure for the intelligent world. New infrastructure is the idea that is popular recently, and the core of it is computing power. So we focus on innovation on computing architecture. And second, in future, we will also focus on providing the cloud services, including public cloud and hybrid cloud. This hybrid cloud architecture is what we believe in strongly, and we will focus on building a good hybrid cloud architecture, providing all developers with an open platform, connecting industries, help customers to solve problems, help developers and partners achieve their own commercial successes. We'll also focus on the basic software, OS, database, and middleware, and make them open source. Open source is only a beginning. After open source, we will keep working with commercial partners and support them in releasing their own commercial versions, supporting them in providing their services to their different customers and industries. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Hou Jinlong. So open hardware, open source software, and enabling partners for a more diversified and a prosperous intelligent world. Thank you very much. The time is limited, so that's all for today's Q&A session with developers. There are still many unanswered questions. I was just overwhelmed by your questions. So after this session, you're welcome to go to community and post your questions. Our experts are there 24/7. We also have DevRun, Code Labs, and also be aware that you have the opportunity to win big award. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
其名为鲲，鲲之大。